welcome again. Now, if you joined us last week, you will know that we delved into the subject of antibiotics, and we said that their overuse in recent decades has contributed significantly to the development of the superbug and many other detrimental effects as well. And so in order to achieve the same effect of preventing infection and combating it, we needed to begin shifting to an entirely new approach of addressing infection into the subject of cellular terrain and changing the cellular terrain in a way that would naturally afford better protection. Now, to describe this a little more to you, I'm going to take you back for a moment to the 1850s. This was a time when Louis Pasteur was working on his now famous germ theory. And in this theory, he postulated the monomorphic approach to disease, in which he said that for every microbe that entered the body, a corresponding unique disease arose, and therefore it stood to reason that in order to prevent that disease or to treat that disease, we had to kill that particular organism, whether it was a virus, a bacteria, fungus, etc. And this germ theory would give rise to the entire approach to medicine as we know it in the current times. It gave rise to the vaccination industry, to the antibiotic industry, and much of the pharmaceutical industry as we know today. However, at the same time, and less known to most, was the fact that there were two other French scientists, and their names were Antoine Béchamp and Claude Bernard, and they worked on a opposing theory referred to as the cellular terrain theory, and their theory surrounded a pleomorphic organism, and they said that the truth is that there are trillions of little microorganisms in the body, and they referred to them as microcytes. And incidentally, you can see these if you look under a microscope, for example, with dry blood analysis. And sorry, that was live blood analysis. And in a normal healthy cellular terrain, these microcytes would just work in cleaning up the cellular terrain and clearing away the excess debris and waste. And it was only when the cellular terrain deteriorated into one that was congested and toxic that they would transform into more pathogenic forms of microorganisms that would lead to disease. And so they demonstrated that if one restored the cellular terrain to one that was healthy, that that individual or that animal was able to withstand disease, was able to prevent infection and combat infection. And the exciting part about the cellular terrain theory was that it enables the individual or the animal to take their own power back and manipulate the cellular terrain by making different choices with diet, with lifestyle, etc. And so rather than being a hapless victim, as is the case with the germ theory, where you simply would seem to be lucky or unlucky to be exposed to germs and to be a victim of disease, the cellular theory actually would demonstrate that there's an enormous amount of power that each of us exercises in preventing disease simply by making different choices and promoting the health of our cellular terrain. Now, what is interesting is that on his deathbed, Louis Pasteur actually acknowledged the fact that there was great faults in his germ theory, and he was quoted as saying, Bernard was correct, terrain is everything. However, in spite of that, Pasteur had many influential connections, and the germ theory was the led to the birth of some massive profit-driven industries, and so the cellular terrain has been largely forgotten, and yet now in the current time when we are being challenged by antibiotic resistance and the superbug, we really need to look back at the cellular terrain, see the power of it, and learn how to dictate the cellular terrain within our own bodies, within our pets' bodies, and in doing so, take back the power in dictating our own health. So it's a very exciting theory, and it enables us to not to be reliant on antibiotics, that go hand in hand with all the detrimental effects that we referred to in the last episode. So join me for the next episode, in which we talk about some practical ways in which you can adjust your own cellular terrain, and with respect to these videos, particularly adjust the cellular terrain of your pets to better effect, so that they can withstand infection. So until then, I am Dr. Janey. Have an amazing week, and I will connect with you very soon.